Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Annette, Sunbeam Fabric Art. The last video I made, we took crumbs, strips and scraps, lots of crumbs, which I don't usually do, and made some fabric. So today I'm going to embellish the fabric by adding a little more fabric and then make a little zipper bag. So come along. So here are the two pieces of fabric I made, and when I was kind of cleaning up my room I found a little tiny piece that on the floor, so I'm going to do a little special something with that. I felt like the fabric that I made was too busy. I felt like my eye needed a place to rest, so I decided I was going to put some diagonal white strips across this busy crumb scrap fabric. To place these strips, I used 2.5-inch white strips. I pressed a crease down the middle of these strips. Then I measured 6 inches from crease to crease. And my idea was that I would sew on both sides of the crease. And then I would have a cut line down the crease and another cut line halfway between the two pieces. And here you can see that first piece is pinned in place, and I'm measuring 6 inches over, and that is where I'm going to put the crease of my second piece. My cut lines will be the creases on the white strips, which are 6 inches apart, and then I will also cut 3 inches from the crease line in the middle of these strips. Now it was time to sew a 1/4 inch seam on both sides of those white strip creases. And once I had sewn those 6 lines, you can see those 2 stitch lines on each side of the crease. I'm going to be cutting on the crease line and 3 inches from each crease line. In this case, the easiest way to cut this was to cut 3 inches from the crease line first, and then I would cut the crease line. Once I was all done cutting it apart, I laid them out like a puzzle. So I'd have quilted, half of a white strip, quilted, half of a white strip, quilted, half of a white strip, and that is how I stitched it all back together. Once that was all stitched together and pressed, I flipped it over and then I laid some scrap batting on the back to cover the entire surface. With this being such a small piece, I really did not need any kind of spray adhesive or pins. To quilt this top to the batting, I sewed down those white strips. Then I also eyeballed sewing halfway between the white strips. So I had 2 lines close together on the white strip and 2 lines close together between the white strips. When you're quilting on a small piece like this, it's a good time to try out something new, maybe something you haven't done before. Try a little free motion quilting if you want to. Straight lines is the easy, quick way though for me. With the quilting done, I cut an 8.5 by 11 inch piece, and then I cut an 8.5 by 11 inch piece to use for lining. Step 1 of making my little bag is to pin a zipper right side to right side, so the zipper pull needs to be on the right side of the outside of the bag. And I pinned that in place, and then I laid the lining on top and pinned that in place, and then I sewed those 3 layers together. Make sure the right side of your lining is facing the right side of the outside of the bag. In my case, it's kind of hard to see because I stitched 2 pieces of batik together to make the size I needed, but you can see this is the wrong side of the bag facing up. The right side of the lining is facing the right side of the outside of the bag. Once that first seam is stitched down, you will open that up. You will fold over the right side of the bag to the other side of the zipper that has not been stitched yet. And keep in mind that zipper pull is going to be on the outside of the bag. Then fold up the lining to match that, and you will have 3 layers again to pin in place and sew together. I found it was easier to pin 1 layer to the zipper and then add that 3rd layer last. Once those 2 seams are sewn, this is what it should look like. You'll have the right side of the bag on your left, or my left. You'll have the inside, the lining, on the right-hand side, and they make little tubes. At this point, you need to get that zipper pull and unzip to the inside of the bag, not all the way to the outside of the bag. You need to have that zipper open because at some point we're going to be turning this inside out. But you don't want it coming out the other side. So just open it about 3/4 of the way across the bag. Once you've made sure your zipper pull is inside the bag, you can sew each side of the bag, although on the lining you're going to want to leave at least a 3.5 inch opening to turn the bag inside out through. And I pinned at the zipper just to keep it all together. And one last reminder, leave that 3 to 3.5 inch opening on one side of the lining so that you can turn this bag right sides out. Before turning that bag right side out, I did trim off those extra zipper tails. Once I turned it inside out, I used my little wooden pokey tool to get those corners poked out. The last thing I did was pin that little opening in the lining, and then I stitched that opening closed. I hope you had fun joining me to make this little zipper bag out of my fabric that I made out of Crumbs. It's kind of fun. What we do as quilters is we take big pieces of fabric and then we cut them apart and put them together again. So it seems kind of strange, but hey, it's what we do. If you enjoy my channel, please subscribe, and you can hit that little bell icon and you'll get notified when I post new videos. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you back again real soon. Bye-bye.